Hey, it's John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and it's the Entrepreneurial You, the show for dedicated and passionate Caribbean entrepreneurs seeking daily inspiration, brought to you by author, speaker, and award-winning entrepreneur, Henika Watkis Porter. You must be prepared to ignite.
All right. It is another episode of the Entrepreneurial You, and I am Henika Watkis Porter, your host and producer of this show. So if you are here for the very first time, an extra special welcome to you. And of course, if you've been a repeat listener, then welcome back. I love you and appreciate you. Now, we are going to be diving into more inspiration today. And we have with us a true legend. Let's just say she has a rags to riches story, right? Let's just say that. But before we proceed, of course, we have to give gratitude to our sponsors, the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Let's have a word from them.
We needed to raise capital, but our experience with local financial institutions was that they were cautious and slow to act, and interest rates were far too high. We had real concerns about financing our business through outside equity investors and the possibility of interference. Could we get a fair valuation for our business? We had our own ideas about the business and its value. Should I go the traditional route of bank financing, or should I try the Jamaica Stock Exchange? So we made a call and experienced transformation of our business through conversations. I'm John Mafood, CEO of Jamaican Teas, and we're listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Give us a call today at 876-967-3271 to begin your transformation through conversation. We want to see your company listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
All right, welcome back to the Entrepreneurial You podcast. From Section 8 housing and welfare to serial entrepreneur, she's a woman who has defied the odds and conquered a childhood of abuse and poverty. A force in personal finance with over 25 years actually of experience, and a heart for empowering women who want to take their lives to the next level. She has a diverse career in banking, financial advising, owning a top 10 Remax office for 5 straight years with over $2 billion in sales, and establishing and selling an insurance agency. Wow. She hosts the top-rated Empower Her Money podcast, which is one of the fastest growing entrepreneurship and finance podcasts. Her mission is simple: to transform female entrepreneurs' lives through financial literacy and generational wealth, proving it's never too late to rewrite your financial story. Please join me in welcoming the amazing, the admirable Angela Duncan to the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Welcome, Angela.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited for our episode today.
And so am I. You and I both. All right, so let's kick things off on a light note. So if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
Great question. I love music. And so I would probably pick either Paula Abdul or Mariah Carey, one of those earlier pop artists, because they were the starting for a lot of women in the music industry, in the pop industry. And so they had to be pioneers and do something quite different than women before them have done. So that would be a very interesting dinner conversation.
Absolutely. All right, let's delve into it, Angela. Your childhood. I shared your bio and I'm inspired already. Let's talk a little bit about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, poverty is different for everybody, right? So I had the opportunity to grow up here in the United States. And what that meant for me is the government helped pay our rent. The government helped pay for my lunch and my breakfast at school. You know, we had lived in different people's houses, on a couch, in their garages, and in a motel at one point. And so I never understood what money was. We didn't have money and nobody taught me about money. And I really wanted to make it my mission to learn about money, because I remember the pain as a child going through that. And if I can stop another child from having that kind of pain in their childhood, then that is my mission.
Talk a little bit about the pain, because I live in Jamaica. I have relatives in the States, and I'm aware that many people they go to the States to live, for example, and they just feel like it's such a like it's a big thing for them when they're able to get money from the government and they feel like wow, it's a big thing. And when I evaluate and I realize, but no, this is not how life really ought to be, So isn't that a good thing that the government paid for you and all of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, as a child, kids cannot be so nice. So when you're getting money or when you're getting the free lunch or the free breakfast at school, the other kids know that you don't have money, right? And if you're not getting new clothes, you get made fun of a lot as a kid. And so not being able to ask for presents for a birthday or for Christmas and just watching other kids grow up in a very different environment, I just felt very alone and very scared and I just didn't know why. And not being able to ask my mom questions about money and why we didn't have it and why the other kids get to go on vacations or do fun things that I just wasn't able to do because we didn't have money. It's very hard as a kid to grow up when you see that other lifestyle around you and you know that there's a different lifestyle, but you just don't get it and don't understand why not.
What does it mean to be in Section 8 housing? Explain that for us.
Yeah, so Section 8 housing here in the US is housing that's paid for the government. The government helps pay your rent. And so the homeowner or the apartment complex has to go through a process and they have to be approved by the government in order for the government to pay your rent. So if you think about not many homeowners want to offer that because sometimes they have to accept a lower rent or a different type of tenant. And so you don't really have a lot of options on where you get to live because you have to live where they're accepting of the Section 8 financial assistance.
Interesting stuff. And now, from that to all of the things I have shared from your bio earlier, Angela, when did that transition start to take place from Section 8 housing to successful entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it started really young for me. I had worked jobs since I was able to, from a young age. And so my first investment, I took $100 and I put it into a mutual fund in the stock market. I didn't know what I was doing. I was completely clueless, but I mailed my check in and I made an investment. And by the end of the year, I lost $20. That was a big amount of money because I didn't really have a lot of money. And so I'm sure people can relate to, you make an investment, you lose money, and what does that feel like? I felt, stupid or not knowledgeable and scared, and now I've lost money. So most people would quit, right? They wouldn't keep going. Well, what I learned is I needed to learn more information, right? I needed to find a mentor, a coach that could teach me a different way, to teach me how to invest correctly so that hopefully I don't lose money. And so after I lost that money, I did work for a bank and I was able to find a couple of women who were very successful. They had been doing investments as a financial advisor for many years. And I just started asking them questions, and they were very gracious in teaching me how to invest so that I wouldn't lose my money because I didn't know what I was doing until I asked for help.
You didn't know what you were doing until you asked for help. Isn't that just about everything relatable to life?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, but we're so scared to ask for help, but yet we want to help each other. We're willing to help other people, but why are we so scared to ask for help when we need it?
Is it pride? Because I spoke with a friend of mine recently, very giving person, she's always pouring into other people. And I recognized something about her, not even compliments she wants to accept from others. And I said to her, this is pride. This is you wanting to always be in that position to give and not to get, because it makes you feel perhaps not good enough when you're getting. You're able to spot that from somebody because you're close, with them. But in general, I think all of us do display that level of pride, and it's false pride, it's false humility, because no one can go life alone. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, then you go with others. And that principle applies throughout everything that we could do in life.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that was an early lesson that I learned, that me going at it alone, I actually wasn't going fast at all. I was going backwards and I wanted to move forward. So I needed that mentor and that coach. And I've kept that thought throughout my life. So every time I transitioned into a new career or a new business, I looked for a mentor or a coach that could help me be successful so that I don't have the big failures that I had early on. And that's what I do today. Now I get to help other women and teach them about money, about investing, and be a coach and a mentor to the women that come to me and ask for help. So it's full circle, right? Because I asked for help and I've asked for lots of help from many different mentors and coaches. And now I still have mentors and coaches, but I give back as well. And I just love being able to do that.
I love how you said that, because that's actually something I'm getting into next. But I want to stay a little bit on the point that you made earlier, Angela, that at every point, different points of, transitioning to different careers, you've actually asked for help via a coach or whatever the means may be. And so many people in life, they want to go ahead, but they don't want to take on coaching. They don't want to get a coach. They don't want to invest in themselves to get a coach. Why is that? Why do you think getting a coach is important?
Yeah, and I think it goes back to the pride, right? They don't want to ask for help, so they don't hire a coach or a mentor. But it's so important because you want to find someone who's in what you want to learn about. They have already made those mistakes, so they can teach you what mistakes not to make. It'll help you get to your goal quicker. It'll help you make less mistakes. And one of my favorite things is I love to be a cheerleader. I want to celebrate your successes with you. And if you do have a failure or you make a mistake, it's okay. We learned a lesson. We're going to pick you back up and we're going to keep moving forward together. So a coach and a mentor really gives you the opportunity to have someone by your side to ask questions to help you stay on track, and then to celebrate with you when you do have your wins. And that's just so much more fun in life when you have someone with you celebrating the success. And when you hit those goals that you've accomplished, I mean, it's just so much more fun to have a community around you celebrating.
Yes, and you started alluding into you're paying it forward. So let's dwell a little bit on now your mission to empower female entrepreneurs through their financial literacy journey.
Right. So just like what we're doing right now, right? We're on a podcast in most of the world. People can access some type of information, whether, we have YouTube here that's free. You can go and grab videos and watch videos. You can listen to podcasts for free. So how do we reach more people is we share the message with other women who are throughout the world on a platform in which they can easily understand and they can also access within their own country. So I've learned a lot about different countries and businesses and what women are doing. We have a long way to go. It's only here in the US, it's only been about 50 years that a woman could get her own credit card. We used to have our husband or our brother or somebody else in the male figure to apply for a credit card. And it wasn't until almost a decade later that a woman could get a business loan by herself. So I know that we're still have a lot in front of us, but it really is our responsibility as women to become educated, to have a voice, and to teach other women the way so that we can all be successful and have whatever version of financial freedom is important to us.
What does success taste like? I want us this narrative came to me, or this thought came to me about the thinking of success in the five senses, the tasting, the smelling, the feeling. Take us through the five senses and how does success, feel, taste? Because I just feel like we need to go on that journey.
Yeah. So visually, so for sight, I feel like I have a bright light around me, and it's my responsibility to share that light with other people. So that would be the sight. The hearing obviously is us having communication, me helping coaching you, me celebrating with you. That would be the communication. Hearing it, when you hear just laughter, or you can hear just positivity in someone's voice and they're around you and you're feeling that energy, I feel like that is amazing. And that goes into the feeling, right? Like I feel it in my heart. When I'm helping someone accomplish a financial goal, we're investing and just changing their future, changing their family's future, their kids' future. Like I just feel that in my heart. Taste, I don't know. Sweet, I guess. I've never been asked that question, so it's a really good question, but I would think it'd be something positive. I'm a big sweets person, so for me, it would taste like, I don't know, chocolate cake or something.
Yeah, and I believe too, like the taste, like I think about it and tasting success is because for me, success is not just it's not just wealth. Well, it's not just riches, it's wealth. And for me, wealth is more about, the money, the financial aspect of it, absolutely. But also the peace of mind, the wellness, and all of these things. So when I think about tasting success, it means I can eat whatever I want whenever I want, and do that in a way that is healthy and wholesome and so on. So I just had a picture, a vision of the senses and success and how that relate to my entire life. So I just thought I'll have you share into that experience with me, Angela. All right, what has it been like for you as you take these women on a transformative journey, that transformational journey of maybe having a mindset of lack and poverty and not enough to being on a journey where they recognize that there are so many possibilities. The possibilities are limitless.
Yeah. So first we look at your childhood because that's where most of us have formed our early money thoughts, our early money beliefs. It's come from either our family, maybe parents, grandparents, and I like to make it visual. So we go through an activity and we talk about what were you taught as a child? And not everyone's grown up in poverty, but everyone has been taught something about money from a very young age. So we write those down. We write those statements down and we visually look at them. And then I ask them, is that your truth today? And most times it's not, but because they were taught that at such a young age, we're still holding that in our mind subconsciously, and we're making decisions today based on things that are no longer true for us. So I don't believe that you can completely erase those thoughts, but we can create new thoughts and make those louder. And when I say that, when you're making a decision about money and you're feeling some type of anxiety, it's coming from that early memory, right? So first recognize it and then say, that's no longer my truth. What I believe today is I deserve abundance. What I believe today is I can create wealth. I can create income. I can have abundance in my family, in my church, whatever it is that's important to them. They have to visually see it and say it out loud for their body to feel it. And then for you to take action on it is how you kind of make that transformation between your brain and for your heart. So having that activity and making you go through it in a very visual and vocal manner really helps to change your mindset. But it's something that you're going to be working on forever. It may never change for you, but you can make progress to have a better money mindset so that you allow for abundance to come into your life.
Interesting. A little bit about visualization and why is that important?
Yeah. For me, most of us are either learners visually or auto, right? So audible. So that's why we do both. We want to visually write it down, and it could be a piece of paper in your house. It could be Post-it notes. I have a huge whiteboard in my office, and I use that for my visual. But I have to say it out loud too, because I'm an audible person and I learn that way. So when we take both of those senses, like you were talking about earlier, and you apply both of them, then that's how your body starts to make transformation. That's how your brain starts to revamp what it is that your belief system is when you're attacking it from both audio and visual. So it's important for you to constantly see it so that your brain remembers, these are my goals, these are my beliefs, and this is where I want to go in life. And have that abundant mindset is very visual and audible. And then you can tackle it with both of them so that you can just progress forward so much quicker.
So the transformation, you're taking them from point A to point B. Take us into that world of how you feel when you've seen the woman that you're coaching, that you are impacting, How do you feel when you see that transition? What's the experience like for you?
Yeah. So I'm a Christian woman. I believe in God, and I believe that God is just empowering me and is using me as a vessel. So I am his life form here on earth, and he is giving me the knowledge, the experience to be able to walk in life with someone here. And when I'm celebrating, I know that God is also celebrating. So we can pray together, we can talk about the accomplishments together. But now, how do we give back? How do we continue to provide to other people, whether that's your family, your children, your church, whatever charities, whatever you believe in? Like, how do we take what we've accomplished and pay it forward? And that should always be part of your goals. Whatever the charity aspect looks like to you, it could be your time, it could be your knowledge, it could be money, So we always include that giving back and paying it forward aspect when we're making, creating those financial goals for somebody. So I just think of myself as a vessel, and I'm doing my duty in what I'm supposed to be doing.
Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. Talk to me, or talk to that little girl rather, who perhaps she's maybe 7 or 8, and she's on welfare, Section 8 housing even. She's seeing all these other kids afford the things that she can't. Mommy can't, daddy can't, and it's making her feel like her young life is about to be over. Let's talk to that little girl.
That was definitely me. If I could talk to the younger version of myself, I would tell her that, reminder that this is God's plan. He is having you go through what you're going through right now to create strength so that you have empathy. Because when I talk to women who've had a similar childhood and I can relate to them and I can be empathetic to them, they're more open to listening to what I have to teach, because they can relate to me and I can relate to them. I understand that the pain that they've gone through. I understand the experiences that they're having. So telling that little girl that this is just God preparing you for later on in life, because you have a bigger message that you're going to deliver. And in order for you to deliver that information, people need to be open to receiving it. And if I came from, a rich background or a very different background, then maybe I wouldn't be reaching the people that I'm reaching, because they can't relate to where I started. Because we can relate to where we started, then they're listening to my message and they're more open to receiving what I have to teach them and implementing what I have to teach them, because they saw that I've had that path. And so it's possible now. And when you create the idea of possibility, that's when the most massive change occurs.
And what you've said is summed up in one of my favorite scriptures, as a woman of faith, and it's Romans 8:28. For we know that all things work together for good for they that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Wow, interesting stuff. Your final thoughts, Angelo, and how might our community get in touch with you?
Yeah, final thoughts is invest in your own self and your own education first. It is not a selfish thing for you to take care of you first. In order to take care of everyone around you, you need to make sure that you're investing in yourself first. Your health, your education, so important. So that would be my final thought for anyone listening. And if you're listening to this podcast and you like podcasts, check out Empower Her Money podcast. I'm teaching women about money and about business, and I would love for them to follow along on that journey too.
You also have the ultimate podcast launch checklist that
Yes.
I'm going to share with them so that they're able, in the show notes, they're able to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're thinking about launching a podcast, I use this checklist with my own clients. I'll give it to you for free. Just message me on Instagram or Facebook, wherever you find me, Empower Her Money, and I'll give you the checklist for free to help you on your journey.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. Once again, thank you so much, Angela Duncan, for sharing your enlightening journey. And I'm looking forward to the way in which it's going to be impacting our community of listeners.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. Angela's journey from childhood to adversity to empowering, or childhood adversity rather, to empowering women in finance is really a testament to resilience and determination. You don't get from Section 8 housing to being the person that she is today without being determined and resilient. So her story not only inspires, but also educates on the importance of financial literacy in creating generational wealth. Now, I've said on here before that if you're an aspiring podcaster or a busy entrepreneur or other expert looking to start your own show, you know that I've got you covered. Check out the Entrepreneurial You Media podcast production services to take the hassle out of the production process for you. So from ideation to full-on post-production, that's what I do for you. All you have to do is just show up. Want to learn more? Go to hennikawatkisporter.com. All right. And of course, you can reach out to me on social media at Hennika Watkis Porter. Keep shining, keep sharing your brilliance with the world because the world needs more light. Affirm with me. I embrace my journey to success. I will keep refining my skills and staying inspired as I nurture my entrepreneurial spirit. Do take care.
Thank you so much for tuning into Empower Her Money podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, share this podcast, and leave a review wherever you are tuning in.